G'day, this is Karl Thomson from StorageCraft ANZ. Today I'm going to present a StorageCraft solution overview. This is simply going to consist of a diagram showing how the implementation of our StorageCraft solution will fit into your environment, and then we'll look at how this competes against other technologies. I truly believe StorageCraft has the best backup and disaster recovery solution available on the market today. So let's take a look at a network diagram here. We've got a SAN, a couple of VMware hosts, a bunch of VMs, some backup storage, and a physical server. Pretty straightforward. It might consist of additional hosts. It could be Hyper-V. It could be, largely physical. It doesn't matter. It could even be other Tier 1 hypervisors such as Citrix Xen, Linux KVM, or Red Hat Enterprise Virtualization, for example. Let's just take a quick look at the backup storage. So this might be some sort of Windows storage server, perhaps, if we look at the HP StoreEasy or the Dell Storage NX or the Lenovo Think server. These are all great types of servers which would be really advantageous for a really good rock solid backup solution. Now let's drill down into see how all the bits and pieces come together here. Firstly, in a VMware environment, running VMware vCenter along with vSphere is going to give us some advantages. It's not an absolute requirement, but we're going to use it as a pretty standard piece of kit in your environment. In those Microsoft environments, this could be perhaps System Center Virtual Machine Manager as well. The next part is StorageCraft ShadowControl appliance. This is a free central monitoring and management console. It gives us the ability to easily scale out into the enterprise with policy-based backup scheduling, configurable alerts and reporting, and a push and install for easy deployment and upgrades and management. We then have the StorageCraft Plug-in. This is available for vCenter or Virtual Machine Manager. It gives us the ability to monitor and manage backups in virtual and hybrid environments from within your existing hypervisor console. So this is basically going to perform a discovery for us of our virtual environment. This enables us to very easily perform a push install of the ShadowProtect SPX backup agent. Of course, ShadowControl has the ability also to deploy out to physical servers as well, perhaps using a CSV import as one of an easy way to do that to a larger environment. From here, let's take a look at the benefits of ShadowProtect. So ShadowProtect is a sector-based imaging tool. This has significant advantages over a lot of other technologies, particularly file-based backups, but even a lot of virtual environments will use changed block tracking or CBT, and that's really reliant on the hypervisor integration to perform that. But at the sector level, we're truly getting the smallest increments of change. This also enables us to have very fast backups because we're tracking these sectors in real time. One of the other significant benefits with a ShadowProtect agent is that we have our own StorageCraft Shadow Copy provider. This will directly talk to the likes of Exchange, SharePoint, SQL, Active Directory, VSS writers. And that gives us a very high level of consistency in making sure that the system is in a stable state every time a backup happens. A lot of other technologies will leverage third-party hypervisor APIs and rely on credentials to perform these functions, and it's not always reliable. So we believe it's absolutely critical to have the Shadow Copy provider as part of our agent to make sure that we're getting good backups every time. The other key benefit with ShadowProtect is the ability to do continuous incremental backups. So what this means is we'll take one full backup of each of these systems and then going forward only capture the sector-based changes forever going forward. That makes offsite replication very easy. It reduces the requirement for all of these complex deduplication type scenarios that you'll see out there with other technologies as well. So this is giving us a rock solid backup solution. The other component to this is utilizing StorageCraft Image Manager. Now this is a fantastic utility because this is going to continually verify my backups. It's going to consolidate them on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. It's going to apply retention to reduce or manage my backups according to the retention policy I have. It can also facilitate replication for local and offsite copies of my backup images, and it can do functions such as pre-staging into standby environments. Now the cool thing here is we can offload Image Manager onto this backup server to reduce that IO load on my production environments. This is a fantastic tool. A lot of other technologies don't utilize this type of image management, and one of the huge benefits here is that during consolidation, Image Manager actually prunes the backups to remove the sectors out of those images that aren't required past your retention policy. So it's a really, really powerful tool. Going on from here, we then look at taking backups. So again, ShadowProtect can back up every 15 minutes with near zero impact to your environment, and it just keeps on going as a continuous incremental schedule. So very straightforward. Image Manager is going to sit there and manage this and perform consolidation. Again, if you can imagine backing up every 15 minutes 24/7, that's 96 increments per volume a day. Image Manager can consolidate these into single daily, weekly, and monthly points in time, and then again use retention to define how long we want to retain these bits and pieces for. So going on from here, let's then look at the disaster recovery aspect. VirtualBoot technology. Okay, so what this means is if a server, a virtual or a physical server is crashed, we can jump on the backup server and instantly virtual boot. This typically is 3 to 5 minute disaster recovery. Now traditionally, virtual boot has supported Oracle VirtualBox that would sit on this backup server, or since November 2015, if this backup server was running Hyper-V, we could also virtual boot into Hyper-V. Now this is directly virtualizing the backup image into a virtual machine on this appliance. It's hardware independent, so it doesn't matter where the virtual machine, or if it was physical, whatever type of server it was, it does not matter. We will sort out the drivers and make sure that the server boots up into this virtual machine. The key thing is, traditionally, this has just been a temporary VM. At some point, we obviously want to migrate this back into production. So we have a tool called HeadStart Restore, where we can pre-stage that virtual boot back into production to facilitate a very quick cutover with minimal downtime. So HeadStart Restore is fantastic for that. Let's now look at the latest iteration of VirtualBoot. This came out towards the end of August 2016. And looking at the same diagram again, I've just reduced the number of virtual machines in this environment just to simplify this diagram. Again, we go through a scenario of a server crash, physical or virtual, and we can directly virtualize those backup images straight into VMware. Now the difference with VMware VirtualBoot is that it can be a permanent failover or migration. So virtual boot into vSphere is a permanent restore. This is fantastic because it means that we don't have to go through a pre-staging process to then revert back to production. What is so great about this is that VMware is talking directly to our backup images. We're not routing it through a secondary virtual machine or appliance. We're not reliant on a management appliance to perform this restore. We are directly restoring straight from the images, which gives us a very quick restore. And at an appropriate time, perhaps in the evening when it's not so busy, we can kick off a VMware snapshot, which will in turn migrate the rest of the data out of the backup images into those VMs. So this is a really great technology. Of course, if we did want to revert back to physical, we could at any stage initiate a HeadStart Restore so that that server could fail over back to even different hardware. It doesn't matter. So this is really powerful technology. Let's take a look at how other technologies might perform that same type of restore, okay? So I guess StorageCraft have got the ShadowControl appliance. Other technologies will have some sort of management VM. Now, one of the things here with a lot of these virtual technologies or virtual backup technologies is that they're totally reliant on this management machine, okay? So this management machine is required to talk to VMware in this example to initiate a snapshot of these VMs. If that management server was to fail or to go down, or the host was to go offline and the management server wasn't running, the backups simply do not run. It's important to understand that with ShadowControl, once it deploys a policy out to the ShadowProtect endpoints, they will run standalone if they have to continue backing up. We're not reliant on a management server to perform backups. But of course, the other component of that is the recovery as well, is that we're going to require this management server to perform the recovery. So let's take a look at what happens with a typical restore in these virtual environments. Server crashes, and you kick off a restore. The restore has to route back through the management server to then restore into a virtual machine. So this is effectively adding an additional hop. It's slowing down the restore and its central point of failure, basically. It's reliant on that management server, and basically it's increasing that restore time. Additionally, it's not catering for your physical servers in a lot of cases either. The physical servers are going to be a separate manual restore process that aren't managed and monitored from the same appliance. So this is really the differentiator with StorageCraft, is particularly with the VMware VirtualBoot that we've just released, is the ability to recover directly from the backup images into VMware without the requirement for the secondary appliance, but also going right back to the backup scenario. We're not reliant on a management server to form VMware to take a snapshot. The problem, I guess, with when talking backups and these other virtual technologies is that they're totally reliant on these hypervisors APIs. So the management server will instruct VMware to take a snapshot. During the snapshot, it creates a delta. And then at some point after the backup's been done, it has to merge the snapshot and the delta back together. And that can cause a stun. And it's basically the VM is going to hang or it's going to pause. I've seen scenarios where this will occur for up to a period of 4 ping responses will actually drop. And this is really inconvenient. It's extremely disruptive to users. And traditionally, you'll even see that's why people are only still backing up once a day. This type of problem does not happen with ShadowProtect, okay? ShadowProtect at that sector level is tracking changes in real time. The VSS component has no impact, and because it's not altering the hypervisor snapshotting or creating this delta, it's not disrupting or causing the machine or services to pause. So it's giving us a very, very leading edge technology right the way through from the backup to the recovery scenario that I've discussed. This is truly one solution for your backup and disaster recovery, whether it be virtual or physical, Windows or Linux. Please watch out for my follow-up overview covering off-site replication and DR, including the StorageCraft cloud services. Thanks for your time. Again, my name's Karl Thomson from StorageCraft ANZ, and I hope this has been a useful insight into how the StorageCraft solution is the best backup and disaster recovery technology on the market. Thanks for your time.